Hello there! Today we are going to be learning maths again. This time we're going to learn about equivalent fractions. Now I'm going to explain about mixed numbers with improper fractions and proper fractions. Right, so I'm pretty sure I have explained this before, but for those of you who hasn't seen this, let me explain again. So we have two squares and each square is divided into two parts, and I've covered up three halves. So it becomes one whole and one half, which added becomes one whole and one half, which can be called as a mixed number, which in a mixed number, the one whole represents the whole number and the one half represents the proper fraction. And in a proper fraction, the numerator is smaller than the denominator. But we can also say this as 2 halves plus 1 half, which becomes 3 halves, which is called as an improper fraction, which in an improper fraction, the numerator is bigger than the denominator. Understand? You're with me here? Alright, good. So let's try to convert improper fractions to a mixed number. So in this box, it shows that we have 4 quarters, and in the other box, it shows that we have 1 quarter. So let's try to add these two. So 4 quarters plus 1 quarter, we're going to add the numerators over here. It becomes 5 quarters. But this is still an improper fraction, so we're going to try to change it to a mixed number. So 5 quarters, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or we can also say this as 1 whole, and this as 1 quarter. So 5 quarters is equal to 1 whole and 1 quarter. So 5 quarters is the improper fraction because the numerator is bigger than the denominator, and 1 whole and 1 quarters is the mixed number. Now let's try to convert mixed number into an improper fraction. So let's say we have 3 identical circles, and each of those 3 circles we will cut it into 4 parts. Then out of those 3 circles, we will cover 2 of those circles entirely, which are these 2 circles over here. And the other circle, which is this one, we're only going to cover up 1 quarter. So from the picture here, we can say that we have 2 wholes and 1 quarter. We will call this fraction as a mixed number. But how will we convert this mixed number to an improper fraction? To do that, step 1, we need to multiply 2 and 4, which becomes 8. Then step 2, we're going to add 8 plus 1. So 2 times 4 becomes 8, and 8 plus 1 becomes 9. So the number 9 we're going to put on top as a numerator, and the number 4 becomes the denominator. We can conclude that there are 9 quarters in 2 wholes and 1 quarter. Now let's try to express these boxes over here to an improper fraction. So over here we have 1 whole and 3 quarters. And from the picture over here, we can conclude that there are 7 quarters in 1 whole and 3 quarters. So we can conclude that 7 quarters is equal to 1 whole and 3 quarters. Now let's try to convert a proper fraction to a mixed number. So let's try to convert 7/3. But how are we going to do that? So first thing that we need to do is divide 7 by 3, and immediately the number 3 should be the denominator. But in this case, 7 divided by 3 isn't possible. But what number is closest to 7 that can be divided by 3? The answer is 6. So we need to divide 6 with 3. So 6 divided by 3 equals to 2, and the number 2 becomes the whole number, and then we need to subtract 7 to 6, which becomes 1, and the number 1 becomes the numerator over there. So we can already conclude that the answer to this is 2 wholes and 1/3. Now let's try something different. So we have 2 boxes over here, and each box is divided into 10 parts. So in the first box, we've shaded 10 parts, and in the second box, we've shaded 4 parts. And with these 2 boxes, we can conclude that we have 14 out of 10. And to simplify these, we know that both 14 and 10 can be divided by 2. So 14 divided by 2 becomes 7, and 10 divided by 2 becomes 5. So it becomes 7 out of 5, which in these boxes, we are going to merge each of these 2 sections over here, and it can be shown that we have 7 out of 5. So the simplified result from 14 out of 10 is 7 out of 5. Now over here, when we try to change the denominator of fractions, we need to do multiplication. So if you want to change the denominator in, for example, 2 to 10, we need to multiply it by 5. And 2 and 10 are both numbers that can be divided by 2. The same goes for changing the denominator from 5 to 10. In the same time, we also multiply the numerators with the same multiplication numbers. In this time, we need to multiply 5 to 10 by multiplying it with 2. And 5 and 10 are numbers that can be divided by 5. The same goes for 3/5 to 6 out of 10. The same thing goes for this. We can convert 1/2 to 2/4, 2 4/8, then 6/12, and so on, because they all have common factors, which is 2. So we can convert the denominators, which are these over here, into any number that can be divided by the denominators. In this case, 2, 4, 8, and 12 are numbers that can be divided by 2 because they are even numbers. So over here, 1/2 multiplied by 2 becomes 3/6. Then multiplied by 2 again becomes 6/12, and so on. So 1/2 times 2, 3/6, and then 3/6 times 2 becomes 6/12, because the denominators can be divided by 2. 2, 6, and 12 are numbers that can be divided by 2. The same goes for 1/3 multiplied by 2 becomes 2/6, then multiplied by 2 again becomes 4/12, and also 2/3, 2 4/6 to 8/12. And over here we can know that 3, 6, and 12 are numbers that can be divided by 3. And finally, we are in the last slide. Yay. So let's get this over with. So 1/3 multiplied by 2 becomes 2/6. Then 1/3 multiplied by 3 becomes 3/9. Because 3, 6, and 9 are numbers that can be divided by 3. It's the same as 2/3 to 4/6 to 6/9. 2/3 times 2 becomes 4/6, but 2/3 times 3 becomes 6 out of 9. It's that simple. You understand? Understand? You're with me here? Good.